Yeah, David, let's start with an easy question. How is life?
Yeah, life is good. I mean, I'm 37 in a few weeks, so yeah, I'm still playing. This season is the first time I've been, down in. We're in League Two now. As you get older, you seem to. It's harder to play higher up, but yeah, things are good. I'm still playing football. I'm really interested in coaching. I've taken all my coaching licenses. I've got the A license. I went for the manager's job at Portsmouth. I had the interview. I didn't get it, but so for me, things, football. I've tried hard at football down the years, and I suppose it's nice still to be involved.
Is that something you always knew you wanted to do, to become a manager?
Well, I hope so. I mean, normally most seasons I try and go to a different club or a different country. I've been to Holland a lot in my spare time. I've been to AZ Alkmaar, I've been to Feyenoord. I have friends in the academy there, Jamie van der Kraan. He let me come over and watch training. I've been to Ajax to watch training. I've been to Bayern Munich when Louis van Gaal was manager. He was very good. Let me watch training, and he said some nice things. So I've been lots of places in England. Tottenham, West Ham. I just try, and Liverpool. Whenever I can, I go and watch training, watch different coaches, see what I can pick up, and that's something hopefully I'd like to do.
Yeah, you're currently playing for Oxford United,
Yeah.
on loan from Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Why did you go to Oxford?
Well, I went for the manager's job and I didn't get it. Although they said I was one of 6 people, I think, to have an interview. I think I was close. They said if I was sat there with Steve Coppell, maybe I would have got the job. But I'm 36. I'm still playing. I think they felt I was too young. And the new manager, I think, probably didn't want somebody around who went for the manager's job. So it wasn't going to work really. So I think it was best I left. But since then, the manager has also left. He got the sack a few weeks ago, last week. So I came here because the coach here I played with at West Ham, and he's now one of the trainers here. So they're good people, and it's a chance to still play football. We've been doing okay. I've scored a few goals, 4 goals in the last 6 or 7 matches, and at my age, that's okay.
Are you enjoying it here?
Yeah, hey, it's different because you wash your own kit, you wash your own boots. It's it's different, But what it does, it gives you a balance of football from, when you started. Maybe it's almost come full circle.
Back to basic.
Yeah, you're back to basics. Hey, and the thing you learn, I think, in football, it doesn't matter if you have at Sunderland, for example, we had a swimming pool, a jacuzzi, steam room, sauna room, all the facilities. The only thing that matters is what happens on the training pitch. If there's good coaches, good training, a good manager, that's the only thing that matters really. And you're with good teammates. There's a good atmosphere. That's the only thing. All the rest, washing your kit, doing your boots, it's irrelevant really. It's just what the team's like, and what the people who are in charge of the club are like. So they're good people here.
And you know what it takes to, when fighting for promotion. I think that's also what the Oxford needs right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that has come from amateur, really. So to be in the top 6 or where they are now they're doing very well. I've won a promotion a few times, so hey, if I can help in some way, then obviously I'd like to do that. It'll be something else that you've achieved.
Yeah, you went to Holland at a young age, but when you left Feyenoord in 2001, you returned to England, and you never left the country. Can we say that David Connolly is crazy about English football?
About English football? Well, I mean, you know, since then I've been lucky, I think, to play for some really good clubs, and you know, they're all doing well now in the Premier League, or if not, they're at the top, you know, of the Championship. So West Ham are doing quite well, Sunderland are doing well, Southampton are doing well, Leicester are top of the Championship, Wigan are doing quite well. You know, so I've been lucky, I think, to play for some really good clubs. And although I really enjoyed my time, obviously, in Holland, and whenever I talk to anybody about my time in Holland, I always try and talk in a really positive light. You know, that it's not only for the football, but just as a country, it's a fantastic place. So, as I said, whenever I can, I try and get over at the end of the season or during the season to watch maybe some matches or watch some training. You know, I haven't been back, obviously, but you never know. As a trainer, I could be. Who knows?
Yeah, but still, it is a fact that you never left England again. Yeah, it must be something about the English football.
Well, no, I think once you've been abroad once, and you know, I'm not too sure. I think I was satisfied that, you know, I had enough in England. You know, the clubs I played for are pretty good clubs, and you know, it's hard to for me at my level to better those. So I was happy enough with that.
But what can you tell about the English football? Why is it so? Why do other countries say England is the #1 country when it comes to football?
I don't know. I'm not too sure it is, but I think in terms of competitiveness, I think it's up there. You know, it's definitely competitive. But I don't know. And tactically, I'm not too sure it's the top. I think there's some good teams who play some attacking football, but and it's very exciting. But I'm sure tactically there might be teams and countries and coaches who are maybe a little bit ahead of where England is now. You know, and that's why whenever I can, I try and go and visit different countries or different clubs. Just to pick up different things, you know. It seems like the managers or the teams that are doing well in England now are the ones with coaches maybe who've studied under foreign coaches, and Brendan Rodgers, who's done well, studying under different coaches. So I think if you concentrate just on England, I don't think it's enough these days in football. You have to, you know, go and see lots of different things.
Did you have the chance to go abroad in your career?
Since I've come back?
Yeah.
It's not something I've really I entertained, because I was lucky enough that some good clubs were wanted me in England. So I think when you get to around 30, when I had children, it's probably I was 28 when I had my first child. I think it's a bit harder then to go abroad and bring your family, leave schools. So no, not since then, no.
But it's not that you had something like I want to stay in England, I do not want to go abroad.
No,
it
wasn't.
What was coming to you?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you hear of agents saying this, that, and the other. But at one point, my mother was ill; she died, so I couldn't go abroad then. And since then, I've had children, and you know, it hasn't really happened. So, you know, and as I say, once you have children, it becomes harder to leave and go somewhere else. Although I would do that as a manager now. I think as a coach, I would go to a different country. You know, I don't see that being a problem.
There must be something that you like about English football.
Yeah, of course. It has lots of admirable things. You know, it's very physical. It's very intense. You know, you're on the road travelling all the time. You know, that is something I don't like. I mean, it's quite tiring. You know, you're always on the road, playing a long way away. It's not like maybe when you're in Holland and you have a journey, a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours maybe. In England, you can spend 7, 8 hours on a bus to get to a match, you know, and you know, but it obviously, you know, it's competitive, it's intense, and you know, everyone now seems to want to come to England, I think, for for the competitiveness, or they feel that it's the best league because of that. But I think tactically and in other ways, there are other countries that are, I think, ahead.
But if we look at the non-football aspect, the atmosphere, the dedication of the fans, that's also something what England is very popular about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the fans obviously are very passionate, fanatical, but I think the Feyenoord fans are as well. They'd be hard to beat. So, obviously there are, we have one of my old teams, Wolves, the other day. They're in the third division, and they brought 9,000 fans to an away game. And they're in the third division. 9,000 fans to an away game. That's incredible. So I think there is clubs out there who are really big clubs who are struggling. Portsmouth was one of my old teams. They have sometimes 20,000 fans at their home games, and they're in the fourth division. It's incredible, and they're a bit like Feyenoord fans. It's a club by the docks. They love their football. They're very fanatical. They're in the fourth division, and they have nearly 20,000 fans. It's incredible.
But you do recognise some of the atmosphere at Feyenoord here in England.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, particularly a lot of my clubs have mirrored, say, Feyenoord in that they've been by the docks. Sunderland's by the sea. Portsmouth's by the sea. Hard-working places, and normally I've done quite well in those clubs, or I've got on well with the fans because maybe I don't know, you try hard, you run around, you're hardworking, and I think as long as you do that, most fans, they will support you.
You've seen literally everything in the English football, from Premier League to League Two. You're still playing. What is it that keeps you going?
Painkillers. It gets harder every season. As I said, nearly 37. I've seen probably most things. I've seen so many managers, clubs. I've been at clubs where they've gone bust. They're no longer in existence. Wimbledon is no longer in existence. Portsmouth nearly, went out of business. The fans had to buy the club. They have 12, 13, 14, 15,000 season ticket holders for a team in the fourth division. I'm at a club now where you wash your own kit and clean your own boots. I've been at clubs with swimming pools, saunas, been at clubs, Wigan, who just got promoted to the Premier League. We got to the Carling Cup final against Manchester United. I've experienced probably, most things in football from the top to the bottom, and it's been an enjoyable ride, and it's nearly coming to the end. But to be honest, in a season, maybe next season, I think could be my last, and I think the lower down you go, the pitches are not as good when you play. The travelling is tiring. Rather than travel on the night before, because it's a long way, you might travel on the day, and it all just adds up. And I think you can do that for a couple of seasons, but maybe next season. I think next season could be my last, and it gets harder to stay fit. I've had lots of operations over the years. I've travelled to Holland to have operations on my groins in Rotterdam. You name any body part, I think I've had it operated on. So it's tough, when you have nearly every part. So it gets harder, every year. And when you've got a young family, it all adds up to being it's a lot of things to do. So at some point, I'm sure when it ends, I'll think, well, I've tried everything, I've given everything. I went to Belgium for a good 5-6 months, probably in 2010, to try and get fit from a groin problem. Training on the beach, and at times you think, why am I doing this? And then I ended up at Southampton, and we had really good success. 2 promotions, ended in the Premier League. So sometimes you've had to really dig in, but most football players, I think, have times like that in their career, and you just keep going, and you never know, what might happen. I nearly retired a couple of years ago. I went to Portsmouth, and I would never have played for a club like that. So it's good. I get on well with the fans there, and so all through the years you have these things to overcome, and I'm still going, but who knows? Maybe next season will be the last.
You said you've seen everything. You also played last match on Highbury against Roman van Persie.
Yeah, that's right. We lost, I think 4-2. I think it was, we played that season. We got to the Carling Cup final. I played in every round. I didn't play in the final. I pulled my hamstring in the semi-final against Arsenal. That was a good season for Wigan. They for a small team, and they had really good players. They had really good players, and it was nice to be part of something small and against against the big boys, and I had the talent of players like Robin van Persie, and the Arsenal team was so high, and it was nice to be at Highbury for the last game, but we didn't win. But that level is so high. You have to respect that.
Yeah, you played against Van Persie. He played in the youth academy when you were at Feyenoord. Is it special to then play against him, to see him grow?
Yeah, I mean, I do a blog sometimes on a website, and I've spoken about obviously my time in Holland and the academy, and that technical excellence that some players have, which is lacking in a lot of English players, and I didn't realise how high the technical level was till I went to Feyenoord, and the training and the technical ability was so high, and that's how they produce players like Robin van Persie, and I know they're still producing them, because I see Congolo has gone to, he's left, I think, to City, and I know it happens all the time with Aki. He's went to Chelsea, and so I do keep on top of things over there, and I do, they've got a very good system over there. I know Feyenoord's won the best academy in Holland for about 3 years in a row. And I think England was a long way behind in terms of their youth, and they probably still have a long way to catch up. So yeah, I'm always keeping a lookout for how players are doing, and I know he was in the youth team. He signed a shirt for me. I auctioned for charity, so that was nice when he was at Arsenal a few years ago. But at Southampton, we produced a lot of good players who have gone on. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was there when I was there. Adam Lallana was there, who's now doing very well. In the England team, Luke Shaw is doing very well. So there are instances, there are clubs in England who are doing really well. Sunderland have produced Jordan Henderson, who's at Liverpool. I coached him when I was at Sunderland. He was in the youth team. So there are examples of some clubs producing good players, for sure as well.
I noticed that you play the majority of your matches on a black boot. I know someone who would say a player who wears black boots is a footballer of the purest water. Are you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not one for brightly coloured boots, but at the moment my boots are black. In fact, they're brown because no one cleans them apart from me. Even I don't clean them. For me, I was always I remember when I was at Excelsior, Andre Hoekstra was there, and he's still there now. I know he left and came back, but he would say, "Oh, you need something else apart from football. Why don't you go fly a kite or something?" I think he used to fly kites on the beach. I never really had that. I was kind of always into football, and down the years I've struggled with time off. What do I do with my spare time other than being involved in football? I don't really have any other. Some could say you're one-dimensional because you don't have a great passion of, a hobby, so to speak. I like going out. Obviously, you might go to cinema, see your friends, or go to theatre. But I do enjoy. I enjoy my football, and I respect it. I've never taken it for granted. I've never been a drinker of alcohol or late night parties or whatever it may be. Always trying to stay in football and yeah, I remember Andre Hoekstra saying that, and he could be right. You know, maybe I did need to learn to fly a kite, but I never did.
You have the Irish nationality, but you were born in England and grew up in London.
Yeah.
But you played in the Irish national team. Do you feel Irish though, or English?
Yeah, no, Irish. I mean, I was the only one of my family to be born in England. It's an old story, but you know, it's come full circle because in Ireland as well, in the last few years, they've had no money, and a lot of people have had to leave Ireland to come to England or go to a different country to work. There was just no work. And when the economic crisis came, it was a bit like that when my mother and father left Ireland to come to England. So, no, I consider myself Irish, and I cheer for Ireland in the rugby, in the cricket, in everything, you know. But now I have children, I have to be careful because they're like, well, why are you cheering for Ireland against England? And yeah, but that's just how I consider myself. Although I was born here, I consider myself Irish. All my family are Irish, and it's a difficult one now. I have my own children. Because they are born in England, but no, it's something I'm proud of. And when I was growing up, I only wore Irish kits, or I supported teams with Irish players. Liverpool had a lot of Irish players then, so no, it's something I consider myself Irish and proud of it.
Which team did you support as a kid?
Liverpool, yeah. They had a lot of Irish players: Ray Houghton, John Aldridge, Steve Staunton, people like this. It was. And it was funny because when I was about 8 or 9, I wrote to Jim Beglin. He was another Irish player. I wrote to him saying, "Oh, I'm a big Liverpool fan. Can you send me your autograph?" And he sent me 2 tickets to Liverpool. It was amazing, and I've never forgotten that. And I went to watch Liverpool all because I wrote him a letter saying I was a big fan, and that stuck with me ever since. So yeah, when I was younger, it was Liverpool.
You joined Feyenoord in 1997 at the age of 20. Was it difficult for you to leave England?
Well, what was difficult was the standard of training of the players. I felt was very high, you know, and that has carried me through to, and the dedication and application and professionalism was very high. Players were in early for training, working on their fitness or working on their technique or in the gym. You had really good professionals there, some who are still there. John-Paul van Gastel, I know, is the assistant trainer. Giovanni van Bronckhorst, there was Igor Korniev, Kees van Wonderen, lots of really good, Paul Bosvelt, really good top professionals. Jerzy Dudek, you know, really dedicated, and that really stuck out. And obviously the level was very high, and the technical level, and obviously all the people who watch training every day, you know, the open days. You know, these are some things you never, I never realised, you know, and I was more goal scorer, probably playing in an English way in a 4-4-2, and then suddenly you're playing 4-3-3 as a number 9. It was really different to what I'd been used to. Okay, I scored in my debut, but I think we played FC 20, I think, or Vitesse, I can't remember. But the level was really high, and now when I'm looking at my career going forward, I have 2 young boys who are 5 and 2, and I just think every day I wonder, you know, there's not that many places to play football. When I go to Holland, there's always football pitches, there's always cages, there's, you know, and I'm always looking at him and think, you should be in Holland, you know, you could be doing this in Holland, you could be doing, you know, it's tricky to find little football teams or little clubs at his age at 5 who are doing the skills. And hey, it's I'm not saying everything is bad in England, everything's good in Holland, but obviously I did learn that when you have that education as a young player, maybe like Van Persie's had from the academy for 9-10 years, that is something I never had, and you were always playing catch up.
But you went directly to Feyenoord. He said maybe it was better if Connolly had gone directly to Excelsior instead of Feyenoord.
I mean, the level was too high probably for me, and I don't think that's any problem saying that, you know. And it's a learning process really. You look at, say, Excelsior and the players that have been there and maybe learnt the game there, and they produced, or a lot of good players have played there and gone on to have good careers. But yeah, for sure the level was high. Although I played full international for Ireland then, and I'd scored a hat-trick for my country, which, well, no one had scored a hat-trick for Ireland until Robbie Keane about 2 years ago. So I'd scored goals, full internationals, but it was a different type of football that we were playing in England, and what Feyenoord had, and it was something that was probably, that level was a little bit too high, but it's something I look back on now and think I've carried it through my career. The dedication, the professionalism, the training. We used to do passing drills every day. Since I've been in England, I can only think of maybe one team or two teams that would do a passing drill every day as part of a training session. Whereas in Holland, I mean, I've books and books and books of all my coaching sessions I've done since I was, well, before I went to Feyenoord. And I've got what we did on that day, the coaching sessions, the passing drills, and there's only one or two teams in England that have done a passing drill, which we were doing Feyenoord every day, working both feet. Now you might do a warm-up and you do a possession game, but most players will use their favoured foot unless you do a specific passing drill. So there's little things like that, that were new to me, but just showed how you would get the level of technical ability that you need maybe at the top level. And if you've been doing that for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, for sure you're going to have a higher technical level than me when I came there at 20.
Is that something you were going to do with your own teams when you were a manager in the future? Yeah,
because I think unless you work on that, they call it the basics, but even the best players need to work on the basics and just keep them high, and that's something I learned, all those years ago. And okay, football changes, but I think the rondos, doing the squares, we were doing that in Holland. At Feyenoord, they were doing that 15 years ago, and probably in England, I only started doing those about 5 or 6 years ago. So obviously everybody looks to Spain now as the place, where football, but lots of things they do in Spain they take from Holland, and but then tactically Italy I think is very high. They have a real high tactical level, their coaches. So there's little bits you can take from everywhere, I think, as well. But yeah, the main thing was the technical level was so high, and I'm keen. Obviously, if I was a manager of a club over here or a trainer, I would be doing. I'm not saying I would do what we did at Feyenoord 15 years ago, but I would have my own ideas now about how you reach that technical level. Yeah.
During your first year at Feyenoord, there was an incident with Leo Beenhakker. You against Kozice in the Champions League, you threw your shirt towards him. Then he said, "You will never play under me again." That was quite dramatic.
Well, I didn't throw my shirt at him. I threw it on the floor, in frustration. But I think that was just used as an excuse, maybe to not to play me. So that's. But I was 20 years old then. As I said, I've always been a hard worker. Not someone who does things outside of football that will compromise. It was all about football and training. So I think one moment of frustration is not, I now as a manager I would not like my player to do that, but it's within the dressing room. It's not out on the bench. I see some players. I went to a match last week at Wembley, and a player came off and he threw his top. But that's in the public, and lots of players and even managers do things out on the pitch or on the sideline. But I think mine was in a dressing room, and what happens in a dressing room, I think, should stay in a dressing room. And it's not the worst crime, putting your shirt on the floor in frustration. It was never at the manager. But if the manager wants to say that, what I've learned as well is managers can have a public voice, which players don't really. Apart from Twitter now. If you're on Twitter, then maybe you can have a public voice, and that's why it's good, but I'm not on Twitter. But, you know, you have to be very careful as a manager as well, because you have a public voice and I've got a public voice now. So I'm careful that I don't talk badly of Leo Beenakker or somebody else. What's the point? You know, they might have said things which made me look bad and I didn't really respond, but I think sometimes it's best to keep your dignity and, you know, try and just get on with doing your job. I know as a manager I will hopefully try not to talk badly of my players in public, and what happens in the dressing room I think should stay in the dressing room.
Yeah, eventually you returned to Feyenoord after 2 years Excelsior and 1 year at Wolverhampton. Did you ever question yourself, would that ever happen? Would I return to Feyenoord? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I know at the time Feyenoord needed some results really to get into, you know, probably the Champions League places, and I could only do what I was doing there, which was scoring goals, you know, and I think when you've been there for a longer period, your level improves, you know, it gets higher. So that happened at Excelsior, my level improved, and you get used to the training and the way of playing, and hey, it was a surprise, but it was a nice surprise, and I remember it very clearly when I went back, and I remember it clearly because I think it was Fortuna Sittard. I could be wrong. I came back and scored but I scored a hat-trick against them for Excelsior in the cup, and Bert van Marwijk was manager, so maybe he remembered that and they needed someone, and so when he became manager of Feyenoord, and in my first game back I scored, I remember, and that was really, you know, pleasing, and you know, you have times like that in your career where you don't give up, and sometimes you get what, you know, you get what you deserve, or you get that little bit of luck along the way. I remember a ball ricocheted and it just ended there, and I shot through his legs, and for all the technical ability, I'd like to think I was always a good finisher, you know. That was probably my strength, and it's still my strength, you know, I would say. So I remember it really clearly, and that was really a really special moment to come back and score against Fortuna, yeah.
I want to show you something.
Okay. Yeah. I had good muscles then. A really good pass from Kelly, really good pass, and that was a really good day, very hot day, a must-win game really, and yeah, I'd like to think that finishing like that was what I was good at, and this was a good move, I think, into me, out to Brett, back in the box, and yeah, it was, to go there and win was really special, you know. I remember that really clearly. I'm very, you know, lucky to have played in instances like that, you know. What was I doing in a place like that? You know, what was I doing in the arena, the Ajax Arena, you know. Yeah, that was a really nice match, very special, yeah. Again, really good play from Brett. I couldn't miss that though, could I, really? But the move was good, you know, it was a good footballing move, and I remember some of the other goals I was involved in, I helped, you know, so it was a good all-round display from me, and also the team did really well, so yeah. When
was the last time you've seen this?
I don't know. I have seen that, you know, because I did a kind of DVD of some of my goals, and those goals were on it, you know. So yeah, it was really nice to see. Yeah, and obviously then I think I left that season, but they qualified for the Champions League. They got knocked out and then won the UEFA Cup. So it was a good moment in their history, in Feyenoord's history for sure.
Yeah, also in Holland and at Feyenoord, you're probably most known for these goals. Yeah. Do you often get reminded of the day?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I've had some fans come over when I've been at previous clubs, and now I've got, as I said, I keep talking about my children, but now I've got children. I did try to go to the last Ajax Feyenoord game, but I could only get one ticket. But I would love to bring my boys to the game and really see what a really proper football match is all about. You know, he comes to Oxford and he thinks it's great, you know, and there's only a couple of men and their dog watching, you know. But to bring him to a proper football match like that, it would be really, it'd be really nice.
Yeah, after your victory with Feyenoord against Ajax, the club only managed one more time to win in Amsterdam. It says a lot.
Yeah, that was an interesting statistic. But and Ajax had a good team then. You know, they had a good team. So that was no one should doubt that was a really good team performance, and very, very high up there in terms of the pressure being on, and the team and the players delivering. You know, going to an away stadium where your fans are just up at the top, you know, and you have to go into the lines then and get a result. You know, is that was the team at that point did really, really well.
Is that also your personal highlight of your spell at Feyenoord?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously it's nice to go back and score in your first game. You know, that was important because you could come back and not score at all. You know, it's I came here as a 36-year-old, and they want you to play like you're 26. You know, I could have come here and taken 8 games to score a goal. I scored on my first game. It doesn't always work like that, life. You know, and I could have gone back to Feyenoord and not scored, or not scored on my first game. I could have taken me 5, 6, 7 games, but I always think that it normally hasn't been that long for me to score goals. I normally would score them, you know, go 2 or 3 games without a goal, and I think that's what being a striker is all about. Really, is if you're a finisher, or you're a killer, or however they used to say it, is, you know, to try and you score goals. So I would always fancy at Feyenoord that if I did play, I would score goals, and maybe it was the other little bits, the other elements on a technical level that just weren't quite there, but I think they got there, or nearly there, in the end.
In that part of the season, with the match against Ajax, you almost played everything under Bert van Marwijk. Why did you leave after that season? Well,
after that season, I think I don't really think they maybe wanted me to stay, and I would have stayed for sure, or I would have signed for AZ Alkmaar, and I was just going to sign for them, and a friend rang me who was at Wimbledon, who had just been relegated from the Premier League, and they had just sold a player, a striker, and he said, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to sign for AZ Alkmaar. I was in the car, I think, on the way, and they said, well, do you want to come to Wimbledon? So the manager rang me, and I went to Wimbledon, but you know, I would have rather have stayed at Feyenoord than go to AZ Alkmaar, but at that moment in time, I think Rob Barn was the technical director, and just from how he spoke to me in the meeting, I could tell that it was an offer, but it wasn't really an offer that they wanted me to stay, really. So I don't really think it was ever on the cards, although they said that it was, and they did. And I mean, I don't read too much press or whatever, but I remember something about if I wanted this money. It was never a question of money or anything. It was just who wanted you, where you could go, and I didn't talk much money with AZ Alkmaar. It was just that was a team in Holland. I think I spoke to NEC, Nijmegen as well, maybe at that time. Can't remember. It's a long time ago, and it was just about finding somewhere to play because I'd enjoyed my football there. But in the end, I went to Wimbledon because one of my teammates from Ireland was a player there. So hey, they didn't do too badly. They got a much better player in Pierre van Hooijdonk, and they won the UEFA Cup. So they did okay.
Yeah. Do you know Lars Veldwijk?
Who?
Lars Veldwijk.
No.
He's Excelsior's current leading goal scorer with 22 goals.
Oh, okay.
And he has 5 games left to match or improve your goal total of 29 goals. Because
right.
you're still the last player who scored that many goals at Excelsior in
Oh,
one
okay.
season.
Yeah, yeah. I thought I got more than that. That must be just league goals, is it?
In one season, yeah.
Oh,
league goals.
okay. Because I did get 3 against Fortuna in the cup. I think I got about 35, but they obviously don't count those. No? No.
Adrie Koster, your former coach at Excelsior, he still says David Connolly is the best striker I ever worked with.
Yeah, Adrie's a really nice guy, and I just read, well, I read a few weeks ago that he's left. He was in Tunisia, and he's left his position there. But I went over to see him at Ajax. He was the trainer of the reserves, or Beloften, however you know, with Aaron Winter. He was there, so I went to see him there. He's a really lovely guy, brilliant man, and sometimes I text him, you know. Sometimes if I was going for you know, to look at some matches or go to Holland for coaching, I'd text him, see if I can come and see him. He was in Belgium. I didn't go when I was in Belgium for my groin. I was going to go and see him, but I didn't make it. But no, he's a really nice guy, brilliant man, really good coach, and I was lucky that he was manager at that time, because he had a very good way with the players, a really good way, nice and relaxed. He wasn't a shouter, a baller unless he had to. Good relaxed manner with the players, and he let you get on with your football, and I was lucky that he was the manager then. Very lucky. Do
you consider your spell at Excelsior as maybe one of the best in your career, because you scored a lot of goals there? Yeah,
but I think it was it just so happened that way. I don't know whether it's one of my best, but it was obviously enjoyable in terms of the goals we scored, but we didn't actually get promoted, you know. So we lost in the playoffs the one season. I left the next season at the midpoint, but we lost in the playoffs. So you can have seasons when you score goals, but you don't achieve anything, and it's not always just about, you know, scoring goals. If you you know, I've been at other teams where I've scored less goals, but you win things, and it's getting that balance, you know, because. Yeah, okay, you get a golden boot, but for what? You know.
What do you consider of the highlight of your career?
I don't know. I had some good times at Sunderland. I joined when they were 4th. I left Wigan, who were in the Premier League, to join Roy Keane at Sunderland, his first job, and they were 4th bottom of the Championship. And we won the league. We won the Championship, which was a real achievement. And they have Sunderland has a really fanatical fan base. They have a 50,000 seat stadium, and the fans travel all over, and that was really enjoyable. I was a top scorer. We won the league. That was very enjoyable. Southampton was enjoyable. We won 2 promotions, and now they're doing really well in the Premier League. So probably my time at Sunderland and Southampton have been enjoyable.
You said you liked the academy of Feyenoord. How big is the chance that you will come back and be a coach in the academy? I think
the standard. I know the standard of coaching is also the coaching has to be higher, so that the players' standards are high. You know, but yeah, who knows if like I say, you never know what may happen in the future. I'm not sure that will be available to me. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of good coaches already. I know there is. I know the coaches there, so I know the standard is very high. And
so you wouldn't doubt if you.
Hey, that would be nice, but
kids can play football in Holland.
Yeah, that would be good. They could go on their bicycles, because in England it's very difficult. Every week someone dies on their bicycle. You know, it's incredible. But anyway. Hey, that would be nice. You never know, but we'll wait and see. Bedankt voor alles.
We'll use that. Thank you.
You can ask me to speak Dutch.
Ja, vertel maar iets over Feyenoord.
Een moment. Ja, ik kan nog steeds een klein beetje praten. Dus het is bijna 15 jaar geleden. Het is een beetje moeilijk. Wat denk je, goed of slecht?
Is goed.
Goed.
Ik vind het goed.
Bedankt.
Top.
Doei.